So last year I had the opportunity to work on a Netflix style kind of cooking show, like Food Network, a little bit more dramatic lighting, a little bit more cinematic than like a typical Food Network, but it was more of like a Netflix kind of vibe. It was going to be a guy that was going to be making some biscuits and to kind of talking through the process and all that good stuff. So it was kind of the first of a kind for me. We got to shoot in a really nice home with a really awesome kitchen. And so all we had to do was come in and actually light the place and make it feel cinematic, make it feel warm. And I think for the limited crew we had of 3 people, I think we pulled it off pretty well. And I kind of want to break down some of these shots, the lighting involved, and kind of the thought process behind what we were doing. And my role in this was B-cam. So I had the B-cam of the interview, and then I also had B-cam of kind of the cooking process, a lot of the details, the more tight stuff. That's kind of was my role. And the more moving shots, that was me. The rest of them were kind of locked off on tripods and getting more of a wide shot. And so that was my role, and those are the shots that I'm gonna break down. So I'm gonna start with this interview shot because I really like the way this turned out. I don't have the A-roll shot, unfortunately, but I do have my B-cam shot. And so we can kind of break down that. And the lighting is obviously the same for the A-roll because they're happening at the same time. I shot on my C70. This footage is C70 footage, everything you'll see here. We are also shooting on a red Komodo, was the A-cam for this project. So that was kind of the cameras we had. So in this scene here, you can see it's really nice, soft light. It looks great. I think it's really balanced. It's a great looking image. And what we had going on was obviously you have the lamp here that was kind of just a practical light that was in the space already. It looked great. We rolled with that, made sure the levels weren't too hot on that. The lampshade was really nice and it didn't, you didn't get like a hot spot or anything crazy. And then we had this under cabinet lighting back here, which was a little bit of a different color temperature, which wasn't amazingly ideal, but it is what it is. For this kind of thing, it works. And then I had my Nanlite 300B off camera here as our main key light being diffused through a impact flag and then hitting the talent there. And we actually didn't have a fill there because the space had a lot of windows and there was just enough going on that it kind of did wrap around and fill in the space in this side of his face here. You don't want it to be, too flat, too washed out, so we didn't want to overdo it with a fill. And then the main source in the background here was this window, and we kind of wanted to warm it up a little bit. You can actually see the stand. We didn't really black that out very well in the background there. If you're looking for it, you can find it. But we had a tungsten light outside, like an old school tungsten, and it was blasting in through this window as kind of our sunlight. So it was warmer, and it was giving us that warmer look throughout the whole day. So the kitchen is actually off to the right here, kind of behind the talent, and the window that we're shooting this tungsten through was also kind of right in line with the kitchen. So we were able to readjust and punch it through that same window to hit the kitchen as well to kind of warm it up and make it feel like a nice kind of sunset or sunrise, depending on how you're looking at it. I used my Canon 85mm 1.4 lens on this shot, and man, it turned out really good. I love this lens. It's great for B-roll shots. It's great for like that B-cam on an interview, that punch in. The compression is so nice, and it's just a really, really tack sharp, beautiful lens, and I love that 85L. So this was all shot on photo lenses, no cine lenses on this shoot at all, and we were all pulling focus ourselves. So now let's move on to the cooking stuff. I'm gonna show you just a handful of different shots to kind of get a feel for the lighting. As you can see in this shot of them prepping the biscuits to go into the oven, it's kind of this nice warm, you see the light, you see this kind of rim on the dude's hand. You can kind of see this rim light and the light hitting the bowl there. We kind of wanted that look. We wanted a little bit less diffused, and that's that tungsten punching in through that window that's kind of off camera to the left here. And it's punching kind of long ways down the whole kitchen, and it kind of gave us that warm thing along with our key light kind of hitting in a little bit of a cooler temperature. It really was a nice contrast, and I liked the way the lighting was kind of balanced on this, and it kind of felt warm, nice, and homey. And obviously this is not the final edit. This is just random clips I pulled, so they would be edited a little bit differently together. And you can see the shot, these biscuits fresh out the oven here. It's another one of that same situation, that same setting. And again, the window that light is punching through is kind of off in the top corner, slamming through this frame, and you kind of get this nice, warm, kind of homey kitchen. I want to sit down and eat biscuits at grandma's house kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what we were going for. This is kind of an early shot of them actually mixing and making the dough for the biscuits. Again, my role was more detailed stuff. So there's a wide shot is also happening at the same time. But my role was here kind of getting the details, and that's kind of what was going on with this shot in particular. I just want to pop in here and quickly remind you guys about the Brevity bag giveaway that I had on my last video. The giveaway is still open. It's going to be another full week, so make sure that you go on that video, drop a comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram so you can be entered to win this awesome bag from Brevity. Also check out that video. It's another breakdown of a spec commercial that I shot, and I kind of go over the color grade, the sound design, the shot selection, all that good stuff. It's really in depth, so I encourage you to go check that out if that's something that you're interested interested in. And also, if you like the color grading that you see in this video or even some of the past videos and you want to know how you can achieve that look, well, I use my own personal C-Log 2 and C-Log 3 LUT packs. It's exactly what is listed on my store. There's nothing different in the versions that I use and the versions that you guys have access to. So if you're interested in checking those out, you can purchase them. Link is in the description. They're 25% off right now. It's the biggest sale I've done so far. So make sure you go check that out. There's a great opportunity to get them for a good price. I also have finishing LUTs that I kind of use to glue all of my footage together. They're really great for creating continuity throughout your color grade across all these different clips and different situations. It kind of helps glue the edit together. So I really like those as well. You can get those for only $8. You get 4 different finishing LUTs. I really love those. Again, I use all this stuff myself every time I make a video. So it's not like I'm selling you something that I don't believe in and I don't think is actually good. If you're interested in any of that, all the links are in the description below. And this shot here I really like a lot. You can see him, he's pulling the biscuits out of the oven, right? You can kind of get a feel for the scene here fully. There's that window that I've been talking about where it kind of runs and shoots down into the kitchen, kind of parallel with the kitchen. So it makes for a really nice soft backlight. And luckily, the sun was on the other side of the house at the time. So that backyard was not fully blown out with sunlight or anything. So it was nice and soft, so we could balance our tungsten light in there, and it looked sweet. And I like this shot a lot, just kind of getting the hot biscuits out the oven. One thing I really loved about this shoot in general was just the fact that it felt really natural. Like you have this window here, and then there's light hitting the biscuits. It just kind of makes sense. It doesn't feel overly produced. It doesn't feel very high key. You have these nice practicals. Again, the right location, the right set really makes a big difference. It can make your life a lot easier. So kudos for production for finding the right location to shoot this. I mean, it just looked really nice. And also, this is my color grade, not the official project's color grade. So if you ever see this or if it ever hits the light of day, it may not look exactly like this. It's just my interpretation of it. But I'm sure my friend Cody, who was the colorist on it, would get a pretty similar look. It probably wouldn't be that much different. And again, to me, this just proves that you don't need a ton of resources to get a really nice look. Not that those don't help, not that the big rigs don't help, but you can do a lot with small lighting rigs and small camera crews. And I think you're able to accomplish a lot of different looks that seem unattainable because we see them on TV. So if they're on TV, they must be unattainable, but that's not always the case. That's just a good reminder of that for me. You can even see here on their skin kind of what the light was hitting like on their faces. And so my role, I was kind of bouncing back and forth between the actual chefs cooking, their faces, their reactions to things, what they're talking about, and the detail shots. Again, the wide shot was going to get the entire frame and just the whole thing, so it wasn't as much of a big deal. Again, we're kind of pulling focus on the fly here, so these aren't perfect, you know, but it worked. It kind of has that, again, that natural, not too polished, really homey kind of feel, and that was kind of what we were going for. And then this was kind of our hero shot of the day. He was making like normal biscuits, buttermilk biscuits, and then he had a sweet potato biscuit, which was slamming, by the way. These biscuits were off the chain, I'm telling you. It's ridiculous. Apple butter, don't even get me started. It was ridiculous. But I really like the way this shot, we kind of wanted that, you know, detail shot to go over kind of at the end to kind of wrap things up of him kind of pouring the apple butter on the biscuits themselves. This was a very simple light, and we did actually kind of move some lights in, warmed it up a little bit. I think it turned out pretty cool. I think we probably could have gone a little bit more natural with this to kind of fit in with everything else. This is my opinion looking at it now after, you know, 9 months ago shooting it. But I still think it looks good. I wish I could show you guys the final product. I'm not really sure where it is in terms of the pipeline of what it's going to be used and where it's going to be used. I would love to do more stuff like this. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was cool to be able to light this a little bit more creatively as opposed to some of the work I do a lot of times is more commercial, so it's more high key, it's more bright. So it was fun on this one to be able to be a little bit more contrasty, a little bit more punchy with the lighting as opposed to these more high key kind of bright commercial stuff that I do a lot of times on the side. So this was a fun one for me. I mean, I really enjoyed this project. It was probably one of my favorite ones that I worked on last year. It was unique. I never really done anything like that. And the biscuits were absolutely slamming. I assure you, they were delicious. Plus, working with good people always makes a huge difference. It was just a great environment on set. And I think the result turned out pretty good for only a 3-man crew. The lighting we did worked. It would have a ton of resources, but it did work. Sure, we could do better next time, but I do think overall the result was really good for our first stab at something like this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you have any questions on kind of the color grade, the lighting, anything more in depth, let me know. I'll try my best to answer them as best as I can. That's all I got for you. I appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next one.